Your destination is on the left.
Arriving at John's place. He's a knife maker. Lives out here in the countryside. Making an extra wide turn. We are going to go have a nice little chat, a little interview with my man here, and hopefully we're going to learn a little something about knife making as well. What's happening, my man? How are you, dude? Great to see you. Great to see you. Thanks for leading us in.
Yeah, no worries, man. I mean, I've had people that have been here multiple times that have a hard time finding it.
Oh, I don't blame that at all. Let me get the windows rolled up and everything. I'll see you out there. Here's Corin. Here we are. Apologies, folks, for wearing the same shorts for like a few days in a row, probably, but RV life. There's no reason
brother.
to no reason to change clothes.
No.
What's happening, my
Hey,
man?
Trying to make it.
How
man.
are you?
How you doing?
Great to see you again.
You too, brother. Been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while, but it's awesome. Why don't we introduce you to the folks, and you can give us the name that you were given by your parents at birth.
Jonathan Bolton.
Jonathan Bolton. That's a nice name. Sounds like a country western singer or something.
Yeah. There's a John Bolton right now in the news, but.
Oh no, yeah. I definitely wasn't thinking that direction of a
yeah.
of a Bolton.
Yeah.
So the way I like to start this, so everybody knows we're semi-related. My second cousin is his wife, which that's how we ended up meeting at a family get-together and such. And we were talking about his knife making and all that, and that's just fascinating to me. Can you, before I get into that, I want to back up real quick and just go with where were you born?
Tyler, Texas.
Okay,
Yeah,
Tyler,
yeah,
born
not too
like
far
right down the
from
street.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a hospital in North Tyler. It's still there, but it's not operational. It's all boarded up and stuff. But,
Okay.
that's where I was born at.
Yeah, that's how you know if somebody's fibbing about where they're really from. You say, what hospital was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, well, actually, I was born in this place, but I moved when I was 1, so it doesn't count.
Exactly.
You know, yeah, I was at St. Vincent's Hospital in Little Rock, Arkansas,
Okay.
and you know, I can't get away from that one. But a great hospital indeed. How long have you ever lived outside of Tyler, or you been in this area most of your life?
Well, no, yeah, I was born and raised in Tyler till I was about 21, and then I was like, I gotta get out of here. You know, I don't want to be the guy that lives and dies in his hometown. And so I bought a bus ticket, Greyhound bus ticket, and went to Southern California. And I wasn't there long, and I was like, I couldn't find work and stuff, and so I was like, I gotta get back home. And so it was $100 for a return bus ticket.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever rode a Greyhound bus, but it takes forever to get anywhere.
Well, I've ridden some of those buses in Thailand between some cities, and I would imagine that their version of a Greyhound in Thailand is probably a few tiers under what your experience might have been.
Yeah.
But
it took about 4 days to get
4
from here to
days.
California. Yeah. And on the way back, I'd call down here. I was like, I need some money to get home. And so they sent me. I got $100 Western Union to me. And the bus ticket was $99. So I had $1 for 4 days to get home.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. So
$1? How did you get through? How did you get through 4 days on $1?
I just
starved?
Yeah. I remember I was about halfway back. I was in New Mexico, and I got off the bus, and I went to the gas station. I was like, I'm just gonna steal some chips. I'm so hungry.
Yeah.
And everyone on the bus has been on the bus with me the whole time.
Yeah.
And they know that I haven't eaten in 2 days, and so they're like, they go in, and so everyone's just looking at me like, this guy's definitely gonna steal something. You know?
Right.
And so I ended up not getting anything. Just got back on the bus.
Oh, dude. Obviously, I know, riding a Greyhound bus, you're in the economic strata of not being able to afford airplane tickets and such. But even at that level, you hope that somebody might see and go, hey, look. Yeah. I got you on a hot dog or something, I've always been that way myself, but it's a tough world, and we learn tough lessons. What'd you learn from that lesson?
I don't know if I learned anything from that lesson, other than just, I don't know if I learned anything from that lesson.
Well,
So the thing was at the time was, I was used to kind of just doing my own thing and not eating a lot. I was just kind of squatting around. I didn't really have a purpose or goal or end in sight, so I just kind of went where the wind took me, and it wasn't a uncommon thing to go a couple days without eating. So
okay, gotcha.
And so I went to Long Beach. I was down there for a little while.
It's a rough place,
dude. I got off the bus in Long Beach, and it was probably about 10 o'clock at night. And the guy's like, "Okay, well, we're closing up." And I was like, "You gotta go. You gotta get out of here." And so I get outside, and I called my uncle. He lived down there. And so I get outside, I'm calling, and I'm from Tyler,
Yeah,
and
of course.
I'm in Long Beach.
That's a fish out of water for sure.
Tell me about it. Yeah, and so I'm sitting there, I'm trying to call him, and he won't answer, and I hear, "Hey!" I turn around, and it was him. And I was like, "Oh my God!" He stopped my heart. But yeah, it was pretty fun. We had a good time. Went to San Pedro. And,
okay.
Yeah.
But it's tough out there. Survival's tough on the West Coast. The price, the cost of living and all that is, certainly is a challenge.
At the time, there just wasn't no work.
What years was that then?
Dude, I couldn't even tell you. I was 21. I was born in '83, so.
Okay.
I'd say early 2000s, somewhere around there.
Well, so if you were born in '83, the '80s growing up out here in Tyler, Texas, that must have been like growing up in the 1950s or something. I mean,
Tell me about it.
what was it like?
It was nice. I think a lot. Really, to be honest with you, I think a lot of it is it's the same way it is now. I think the only reason that people think it's different is the world's become a lot smaller with technology. You look at your now you can look at your phone and you see. You constantly get Amber Alerts, and you get on the news to say people are missing stuff. But I think just as many people came up missing back then.
Sure.
You just didn't know about it.
Absolutely.
And so you were a lot more confident in letting your kids just kind of roam around. I grew up in the woods. We would just kind of rip and run. It was kind of one of those be home when the lights come on kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much how I grew up too. I mean, I grew up in a lot of apartment complexes, but they in Arkansas and in Georgia where they were, they always bumped up against these spreads of woods, and that's where we spent all our time. I mean, every single day was all about being down in the woods, and I think that growing up with that experience, for me, it made me feel more attuned and closer to the natural world, and have a great affinity for it.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, what'd you and your buddies do for fun? When you were like, let's say between like the ages of 8 and 13ish, around there.
Yeah,
because I know things can change after 13.
Yeah. Well, I grew up, we were living in a trailer park over on the west side of Tyler, and it was just the same thing normal kids do. We ripped and run, got in trouble, rode bikes, and went through the woods, and stuff like that.
So I used to build tree forts and all that. And
yeah, man, we were always just doing a lot of stuff.
Dirt jumps.
To be doing, yeah.
Did you build some dirt jumps?
We didn't.
On for your BMX?
Yeah.
We used to always build some dirt jumps down in the woods for the BMX. It was just like you were always a hair's breadth away from just slamming into a pine tree.
Eating a bunch of gravel.
Oh yeah, we were big into rope swings too. Doing rope swings in just the craziest places.
Yeah.
I got injured so many times
we
on
would
rope swings.
Go swimming and stuff. We'd find these ponds out in the woods and go swimming. And to this, now I'm surprised we didn't get eaten by an alligator, bit by a snake or something.
Kidding.
I mean, it's just the swampiest place. But when you're a kid, you're
don't care.
mortal. You don't care about that.
Yeah, there used to be a rock quarry where I lived in Atlanta in the back of these apartments called what were those ones called? It wasn't Wyuka Wind. It was on Roswell Road. It's probably all built up now, but way deep down in it, there was this old, I don't know if it was abandoned or not, or it was like the rumor was a witch lived there. It was like this old mansion that was along the side of it, and they had their own family grave there, and it was really creepy. And then there was the rock quarry that had been there for 100 years or however, 200 years or something, and we used to swim in it all the time, and it was full of moccasins.
Oh yeah,
full
of. Usually those quarries, they're nice and clean.
Very clean water.
Yeah.
But full of moccasins.
Yeah. And those things are aggressive, man. They'll come at you. A lot of snakes, they'll go the other way. But a moccasin, it'll chase you down.
Well, the technique of escaping a moccasin on the water, because apparently they primarily are protecting a certain area around their nest, where their home is. And when you get away from whatever that barrier is to them, it's kind of like a dog protecting its yard, you know?
Yeah.
When you get just outside that barrier, they'll F off. But you have to swim underwater the whole time.
Yeah.
Because they'll just stay above you,
Yeah.
and that happened to me
Yeah.
a few times. And you have to just you see one coming, you have to hold your breath and swim away from it, and keep swimming and look back and keep swimming until
Yeah.
it goes
Your
and
heart's
goes
just
back.
freaking
Because if
beating out of
you
your
come
chest.
up, it's gonna bite your face. But that was like normal for me as a kid. You
Yeah.
know, snake
Yeah.
hunting and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Did you ever go snake hunting?
Not as a kid. Once I got older, we got this place. We're definitely always looking out for snakes and stuff.
What kind of snakes you got on the property?
Well, we got water moccasins, cottonmouths, which is pretty basically the same thing. What are those? The sand ones? What's the one that lives in the sand?
Oh, I don't know about that
I
one.
can't think of the name of it now. I'm freezing up, but
Well, I'm not gonna step in any sand. I can
no,
tell
it
you
was.
that.
It's the color. It's the color.
Oh, right. Is it no, coral snake is out west. Or where's a coral snake from?
The name of it.
But I know what you're talking
But
about.
we seen one timber rattler out here. They're endangered, but we live right next to the game reserve.
Oh.
And so
How big is a timber rattler get?
I don't know what their maximum size is. This one was probably about 2.5, 3 foot or something.
Oh, that doesn't seem
And
that big.
I was
But fat?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's still a rattlesnake. You know what I
Yeesh.
mean? And I was picking berries. We have some wild blackberries, and so I was picking berries, and I hear, and I was like, I thought it was the sprinkler system
Right.
cut on. And I look over, it's the suckers. And I was like, I'm just gonna do me. I'm gonna let you do you, and we just kind of both went our own ways. And,
That's the way to do it sometimes,
Yeah.
even in life.
yeah.
Well, going back to that coming back from San Diego back into Tyler, at that. Well, even before that, I want to jump back into high school real quick and find out like what was a directional kind of path. If if you felt like what were you trying to do or not trying to do out when you're leaving high school going into real life.
See, that's the, I don't know. As far back as I can remember, I've had this kind of like existentialism type thing. I mean, even in school, I didn't see a point.
Right.
In anything, and I left school, and it's kind of one of those things where you get a job because you need money. You don't go into a job that you enjoy. You get a job just quick because you need a paycheck, and then you think, why am I working 8 hours a day for a job that I hate?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna die in the end, and none of it's gonna mean anything. Nothing. It just, what's the point? Why? I don't understand why everybody's working all these jobs, and in 100 years, no one's gonna remember
Anything.
who you were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just kept it up. So I needed a job. I'd lose that job. I'd get another job, and I never really had a path or focus. I just kind of went along.
Yeah.
And that it was like that up until 5 years ago. Whenever
Really?
my boy was born. Yeah,
Okay.
I just I drank a lot. I was, I just kind of did my own thing. And that really changed everything. It made me, it gave me a reason to kind of.
And were you there in the hospital in the birthing room and all of that?
Yes. Yeah.
I see. I unfortunately because of acting and all of that stuff, I missed both of my kids' births by a matter of days, because of this job or that job. But I was trying to get back there in time, so I never got to have that moment because I've heard it's life changing. What was that moment like for you?
It was. I mean, like I said, I just kind of did my own thing, and then I see this life come in, and it's so amazing. He was born. He was premature, and so unfortunately, the hospital that we were at didn't have neonatal care.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to move to a new hospital. Well, my wife, she had to stay in the hospital where he was born, so she didn't get to go with him to the new hospital. And so I went, and they said, well, we don't have a visitor's time, but you can't sleep, so you can stay here as long as you're awake. Challenge accepted. So I was there for I think I stayed awake like 50 hours or something.
Well, yeah,
I'm not
after
leaving
your
him,
bus,
you know what
after your Greyhound
Yeah,
trip
exactly,
back,
yeah.
you were fit for this.
Yeah, so I was
let me just make sure this is still rolling. I'm
you're
paranoid now because I had a technical difficulty with it.
I saw that. I watched
Yeah,
that.
and man, I mean the end of that dude's interview. I mean he just knocked it out. He got deep on some stuff that was pretty cool. So I don't want that to happen with us.
I hear you. No, you're good.
No. So you think that a major catalyst for kind of a psychological shift for you
Definitely.
was the birth of
yes,
your
definitely.
son?
Well, I watched some other interviews and you talked about, a lot of families were broken up and stuff like that. And my parents, they'd split up when I was, or my biological father and mother, they split up when I was about 3. And I didn't really know who he was for a long time, and we met, a few times, and it was always kind of weird because we didn't really know each other, and we tried to do this and that, and he really wasn't around a lot when I was young, and then when he was older, when I was older, I was just kind of like, why am I going to put in the effort?
Right.
He didn't put in the effort,
Right.
and so I kind of avoided it, and then he passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
2015, like 2 days before Christmas, and then all of a sudden, all of this. Like,
wow.
I'll never get to talk to him. I'll never get to know him. You know what I mean? And so that also with my son being born was like, it's if you do believe in, that we're all just kind of dust in the wind, then this isn't a dress rehearsal, and we have to spend as much time, with those that we love as possible.
Isn't that true?
And that was one of the reasons why I started doing my own business. Was my son was born, and I was off for 2 weeks leave. I had 2 weeks leave, and I went back to work. And it was this. It's hard to explain if you have never felt it. My nephew, he told me he experienced a similar thing, but at the time I just kind of was like, okay, cool, whatever, because I had not experienced it.
Right.
And it was this like unbelievable feeling of abandonment, where I was abandoning. I don't know. It was. I mean, I'm only going to work.
I know exactly
I'm only going to
what
work.
you mean, though.
But it was like this. It was like, it's just, if you don't know what that feeling is, you can't explain it. And I go to work, and I'm just miserable, And so I'm thinking, I got to do something to spend more time with this kid. And so I'd been making knives, and so I'm thinking, well, maybe I could, do this on the side or whatever, make a little extra money. So I was working 10 hours a day at a job I hated. I would come home, spend an hour or two with my son, then he would go to bed, and then I would go make knives till, 2 o'clock in the morning.
And then wake up, work 10 hours,
exactly,
and then
I would do it again. And I'd make some knives, I'd take them to shows and stuff like that and sell a few of them. And this went on for a couple years. And then
well, let me jump in right there, though, because that's you've now gone from a dude who was probably not so much as concerned with how, what job it was, how long, how much money, this and that, someone who was a little bit, like you said, a little more, ride by the seat of your pants in life, to suddenly within the time it takes, for a woman to get pregnant, have a child, and you said he was premature and all that,
yeah,
and
like
then the shift, father passing away, and then you're suddenly like, okay, that's it, I'm going to do 2 things now.
Mm-hmm.
What was it that clicked in your mind? Like, I got to grind this out double time.
Well, because
what were you trying to achieve?
I was hoping
there?
that I could start a business.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I could start a business, then I could have my own hours. I could spend as
Gotcha.
much time. And so my goal is to work as hard as I possibly can to spend as much time as I possibly can with this new life that's in in the house. And so that was the main thing, was just work as hard as you can to reach this goal of being self-employed.
Right, which has now allowed you more free time.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is I work on the property, and so I can come in. It's summertime, so I can take a day off. I can do whatever I want. I come in. I can have lunch with him. I can help him with his schoolwork. I can do whatever I can, and or I could work at night and spend the day with him or whatever. And it's I've been doing this full time for 4 years now, and I haven't that sick feeling, that Sunday night anxiety when you have to go to work the next day. I haven't felt that in 4 years.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's just, you can breathe.
Yeah.
And being when you work in manual labor, if you don't work in manual labor or a job, a menial task, you're not going to understand that they constantly let you know that you're replaceable. Constantly, they're gonna let you know that you're replaceable, and that minimum wage means if it was legal for me to pay you less, I would. And,
it's true. It's sad but true.
Yeah, and so I worked at this company, and it was a major company. They were doing, work for major automobile manufacturers and stuff, right? And
were you a machinist, or what were you
I
doing?
worked on a CNC machine. Saw.
Okay.
And
so just to jump in real quick, because I haven't really quite figured out. Every now and then, can someone just look at the back of this and make sure it's still recording for me, just in case? Thanks. What was the primary labor that you were doing on and off in the lead up to meeting Lindsay and getting together and all that?
I was unemployed. I was squatting.
Okay.
Right. So like I said, I just this kind of existentialism where it was just like, what's the point, And so I just kind of did my own thing, and I just slept on friends' couches and was just unemployed. And then I came back. I'd just been back from California like a month or two, and I met Lindsay.
Yeah.
And I moved in with my uncle, and I was like, okay, well, I got a girlfriend now, so I need to get a job.
Yeah.
So I got a job, and within a couple months, I got a place. And
what was that job that you got then?
I was delivery for produce delivery.
Okay.
Dude, I've had a ton of jobs. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of jobs.
What was one of the most ridiculous jobs you ever had, and what was one of the jobs where you thought, I could have actually stuck with that for a long time? That wasn't bad.
Okay, well, one of the most ridiculous jobs I had was actually one of the last jobs that I had before I did knives, and one of the parts that they made me do was we're on this coating line where they're using this coating, and they were having a problem with the coating dripping as it goes through. So they coat it, and it goes through this hallway, and as it goes through the hallway, it dries in this hallway. But it was dripping, and it was causing problems with the finished product.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm sitting in this tiny hallway with a rag, and as the product would go above me, I would just dab it. And you're in this tiny hallway for like 10 hours breathing these chemicals, and it's one of those places where
that's brutal.
They don't care, they'll just find someone else,
right?
And you just dab it.
Did that particular job have a work title?
I don't think so. No.
Chief Dabber?
Chief Dabber, yeah.
That has a different meaning nowadays. I actually got paid to be a dabber. They're like, dang it, that cost me a fortune.
And I didn't get paid a lot. And then I did private security for a while, and it was probably one of my favorite jobs that I did. I did it for a few years, and the only reason that I quit doing it was it was a lot of nights and stuff, and we live out in the sticks, and so Lindsay didn't like to be here alone at night. But so I ended up quitting that, but. It was really cool, I got to do weapons training, and
Well, that's cool.
It was really cool. I did that for like 3 years.
Everybody should get weapons training. As a prerequisite when you leave high school, right?
Definitely. I mean, I think that would solve a lot of the problems we have now with accidental,
Well, that's for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, now getting to the work side of things, has anybody checked to make sure this is still we're good? Okay, thanks. It seems to me, even though you say jack of all trades and all of that, it seems to me that as much as you weren't afraid of losing a job, you also weren't afraid of getting a job.
Oh yeah, no, I never, I never got any kind of like assistance, government aid, or anything like that. I'd go and they got a place called Labor Ready, where you go and you don't have a job, you go and they'll put you to work that day.
It's a workforce
It's going
kind
to
of
be
thing,
exactly.
yeah.
It's going to be, it's not going to be the best job in the world. It's probably going to be a really
digging
terrible
ditches,
job.
sweeping, whatever it is.
Putting the stripes on the road. Or something.
Right.
And I did a lot of stuff like that. I go to a temporary agency and they put you to work that day. And it might, I went to, I did one time. I went to the temporary agency and they sent me to a place that does like floor cleaning, right? And we had went to a retirement home and there was excrement everywhere.
Right.
And I was like, I'm out. Like a lot of stuff I'll do, but I'm not doing that.
Right. That's a tough one. I mean, that's a certain
kind of person that can make that a job, a lifelong.
I mean, I would have to have a conversation with myself first before. I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, I'd have to have a talk with myself first before that one. So. With the knife making, I mean, I find it awesome. I mean, I've always been a fan of old medieval movies and all of that, and blacksmithing has always been a very particular trade that goes back thousands of years. And there's, it was considered a very sacred, art back, and it was very protected. The craft, the
Exactly.
actual craft of it was like the biggest secret. What was it that drew you to can I call it blacksmithing? I mean,
Yeah, it was bladesmithing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just was kind of messing around. I was bored, and I'd watched a YouTube video on how to make a forge out of a coffee can, and so I did it. And I had like a little anvil and a hammer, and really to start, all you need is a fire and steel, a hammer, and you're ready to go. And it was terrible. The first few knives were terrible.
What would they look like?
I mean, they
still have them?
Somewhere, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I got them somewhere.
Yeah. Buried in the yard.
Yeah, if someone would have told me, like, that looks like dog crap,
right.
I probably would have stopped. But everyone was just like, oh, it looks good, Everyone, gives you that pat on the back, And so I kept doing it. And with anything, the more you do it, the better you get. And so, I did it for probably a year before I sold anything. Just practice. Make a knife, throw it away. Make a knife, throw it away. Make a knife, throw it away. And then we started going to like these little basically like flea markets.
Mm-hmm.
And was selling them at flea markets. And then after a while, I'd start to make one and sell it online. And then next thing you know, we're getting orders in, and more orders and more orders and more orders. And then we get starting to get a back order list.
Really?
4 years later, yeah, we keep about a 3-month back order at the
right.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean it's really taken off, and I think it was just something that I stumbled on. I've always been kind of artistic, I like to draw and stuff like that, and so that definitely has a part in it. It's an art, and so I enjoy it. I don't consider it a job. They say do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. But at the same time, if you do something you love, it's still at times going to become a job.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's gonna be, and there's sometimes that I just I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I just want to, I'm just gonna flip burgers. This is
right.
ridiculous. and then I go to bed at night and I'm like, I'm never gonna flip burgers. This is ridiculous. I mean, I'm a knife maker and that's what I'm gonna do. But
yeah, I'm sure that some knives are more challenging than others and all of that.
And there's a little bit of magic involved, and you can
there
have
is
catastrophic
magic,
failures and. I have a sign up in the shop that says, "Don't hold on to a mistake because it took you a long time to make it."
Yeah.
There's a point where you just have to throw it away and start over. You're going to spend more time trying to fix a problem than to just start from scratch.
Isn't that?
And
that's profound.
Yeah. So, that's a tough lesson to learn. Right
it
there,
is
to stop, trash it, and start over.
But what's really great to me is that, I mean, it seems to me that you may have an artist that had not yet found his craft. Many people who are artistically inclined and they're trying to get through a regular workaday world, but they've never found a craft because maybe they went to a school that didn't have a good art department, or never ended up in arts, or never got to try a musical instrument when they were young. All these different things. There's lots of things that can happen in life that strip the ability of someone to actually come across an art form. Mm-hmm. And I find that for myself when I step away from acting, it's like the things that I have to find to do, especially is construction. When I fell into doing a little bit of construction, I was like, this is a craft that even if I'm just doing kind of the grunt work, just slamming nails and just cutting some board, nothing too major, but at least there's a beginning, middle, and end to each product every day, and I can look at it and walk away and go, wow, I feel like that. And for me as an artist, there's an end to the cycle, and then something new is going to happen, whether it's a different construction site or a different movie set or whatever it is, and I can imagine that perhaps that newness of each order, the challenge of what they're offering you, huh?
And every time you kind of get out of your comfort zone. You learn something.
Yeah.
A lot of times someone will be like, "Can you do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I'm gonna try my hardest to do it, and a lot of times I succeed. 90% of the time I succeed, and I'm like, now I can do that. And before I didn't even think about it. You know what I mean? And if I can't, then I say, well, sorry it didn't work out. But it's very rare. I think maybe once in the last year I've had to say, something like, oh well, this just isn't gonna work. But most of the time, it's like, oh yeah, I can do that.
So would you say that that had you and Lindsay not had your son, if that just had not happened, do you think that your life would have potentially continued the way it was for a lot longer?
Definitely.
So
I think
you were married to a certain type of lifestyle?
I think it was a catalyst to a lot of different things, right? I think, with my father, or my biological father, passing away and not really knowing him, and then this new life being born and wanting to not follow that same path, I just completely changed who I was, right? You lead by example. And I was a drinker and stuff, and I quit everything. I smoked cigarettes, I quit smoking, I just became the person that I would want him to be, right? So that's the only way I could do it, and I'm pretty hard-headed, and so I think that has a lot to do with being able to just tell myself no. I just quit everything cold turkey, and decided that I'm gonna be a better person.
And that catalyst happened more right after the birth than before.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It was.
Do you think there was something a spiritual quality to that awakening that occurred?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't. I would say, yeah, definitely that. It's hard to explain if you never experienced it.
Yeah.
It's just hard to explain, but it's something that.
Did you feel light? Like, did you feel lighter? Did you feel more awakened?
It was more of a destination, or it was more of a like
focus,
a path.
A path, okay.
Right? It was, this is what I have to do, and this is how I'm going to get there, and this is who I want to be, and this is who I was, and I'm not going to go this way anymore. I'm going to go this way.
Man, that's.
And,
but that's that moment at the crossroads that people talk about so much, where, the shitter get off the pot moment, so to speak.
Definitely.
And if you waver on that moment, it can be because I've wavered in those moments, and it's just drawn out that final decision, like another 2, 3, 5 years, where it's like, okay, I was right 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fine, I get it.
Yeah. So our children are the only way that we're ever going to achieve immortality, right? So how do you want your generations, you got to break that, that generational, my mom used to call it a generational curse, right? Where, this, it just keeps going down of alcoholism, or, any other cases, drug abuse or violence or
broken homes.
Exactly. So you have to cut that off. You got to sever the arm or sever the hand to save the arm, right? You just cut it off, and you forge a new path for the next generation, and that way he doesn't have to know about anything else, and just put him on a new path, and
give him better working tools than you were given.
Exactly. Definitely.
And the chat, but is it still, having made this choice, it's 5 years into it or so, having made this choice, have you settled into it? Do you still get challenged at times? Is it
as far as what?
Oh, just this kind of
life.
Yeah, this kind of life. It's a very calming, relaxing setting. It's consistent, it's stable. And from what you explained to me before, it sounds like your life wasn't quite consistent and stable.
I mean, everybody has trouble and
I have
trial and and I don't know. The thing is around here we what is it, the term, we fix stuff, we don't get new stuff. And so when life, say you and your girlfriend or wife or whatever, you struggle, and a lot of times people will just split up, right? Instead of fixing it, they'll just get a new one. And that's with anything. You got to work at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks easy, but it's, you just got to put the time in.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I have to commend you 100% on the amazing turnaround. On a dime like that. It's not easy as it sounds, and you seem to have actually crossed that threshold and made it seem a lot easier. Because I've tried it a few times, and I have other friends who are like you, who were able to literally just wake up one day and go, okay, that's over. and then just keep it moving totally. And I'm sitting there going, wait a second, how did you do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's me 6 years later. I'm going, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. Now I'm here with you, but I'm a little late to the party. On that note, I'd love to get, you know, something that people can chew on, you know, like what type of kind of life advice you might be able to share from your own personal experience that someone might be able to get something from that might help them make a better decision than they might be about to make.
Okay, so when my biological father got cancer, right? He was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and you know, people obviously, you know, most people know somebody that has cancer. It's everywhere nowadays.
Yeah.
So these people that have a terminal illness, what do they usually like to do before they pass away, right? They want to spend time with family. They want to make things right. They want to do this and that and the other. Okay, what's the difference between them and us? We're dying right now.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and honestly, I mean, we could die tomorrow. They could outlive us all. So, really, the main thing is, especially, I try to always think about this whenever I have an encounter with my son, where he does something that you know he needs to be corrected on, is to just talk to him and don't say anything that I would regret, you know. And it's just slowing down, just slow down. You know, and that's the same way with knife making or anything in life. It's just slow down and think about what you're doing, and you know, don't do anything that you're going to regret, because we're all dying. You know, we were born with a terminal illness called life, and you know, you just got to slow down and think about stuff. Don't take anything for granted.
Yeah, that was really deep for me for my own reasons, I gotta say, because you know, it's been an emotional roller coaster for me for especially the last 6 months, which is fine, you know, but man, the breathing part's been tough lately.
Yeah.
That's for sure. It's been tough.
But you know, you're
slowing down.
You're putting your boots on. You're doing it. You're not saying, "Woe is me," you know. I'm not employed right now. You're putting your boots on and you're getting it done, and that's all you can do. You move forward every day. What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do tomorrow? And don't dwell on the misfortunes of yesterday. You know, focus on how you can make tomorrow better. You know,
if you guys don't think that was a perfect place to wrap this up, because that's something that I'm going to chew on myself.
One more thing for you.
Please do.
So a lot of people, you know, they think, well, it's easy for him because he can, you know, he could, it's easy to, he got an opportunity to make a better life choices, or he could start a business or anything like that. Well, now is really the most opportune time to start something that you want to do, right? Everybody's got the excuse, I don't have time. Right now, everybody's got plenty of time. So start something new. You want a new job, you want to work for yourself, you want a side hustle, you want to do something like that. Now's a good time to start. You got plenty of time to learn a new craft and to start a business or a religion or whatever you want to do. You know? Whatever.
Or get on the road with Love America Tour. Thanks, my man.
Yeah, man.
That was awesome.
Yeah, brother.
That was really, really awesome,
Yeah.
dude. Give me a hug. Yeah.
Right behind you.
Your destination is on the left.
Take a walk up to the knife shop real quick. Check this out. All right. A little messy. Yeah, buddy.
probably like a really bright yellow. Then we'll take it out. We'll clean it with a brush. We'll add some plugs to it, and we'll start twisting it and turn it into one solid piece of steel.
Fantastic. And what's that doing right now?
We just twisted it shut.
Okay.
Twisted it close. And then we'll scrape all this off and we'll put it back in.
All right.
See how it's a lot tighter now? See all that carbon and craft that's coming out of it? So we got to get that out to make sure it gets good and clean. So we're going to put some of this on it, some borax flux. So what that does, it just creates a barrier and prevents the slag from forming on the cable, so you can get a clean weld when you go to weld it.
Right on.
We'll put that on there, let it cook for a little bit. I'll open it up a little bit, put some more, twist it shut, and then we'll start forging it.
Awesome. Probably 3-inch wood point, something like that. It's going to be a hidden tang, and we'll do like a brass. There'll be a brass guard here